The first thing that felt wrong wasn't the phone call itself. It was the pause before my mom answered, like she'd been standing there watching it ring, deciding whether or not to pick up. I was 34 years old, barefoot on a rental balcony in Sedona, the red rocks catching the last light of afternoon. I remember thinking the trip was finally working. I'd been sleeping again, breathing slower, letting myself believe that leaving town for 2 weeks might untangle something knotted inside me. "Hey, Mom," I said when she finally picked up. "Just checking in." Her voice came soft, too soft. "Oh, hi, Aaron. You sound far away." "I am," I laughed. "That's kind of the point." She chuckled, but it didn't land. There was a hollowness to it, like a line read off a page. In the background, I heard the scrape of a chair, then quiet. Too quiet. My mom was never in quiet rooms unless she was thinking hard about something she didn't want to say. "How's the house?" I asked. Casual. Automatic. The way I always asked. "It's fine," she said quickly. Still standing. That was the whisper. Barely anything. A breath of unease sliding under the door. That house had been mine for 6 years. A squat 2-story place with creaky steps and a lemon tree out back that refused to die, no matter how badly I neglected it. I bought it after Dad passed, when everything felt temporary and I needed something solid to push against. Mom still had a key. She watered the lemon tree when I forgot. It was normal. It was us. I leaned against the railing and watched the sun sink lower. "Did you check the mail for me like I asked?" Another pause. Sure this time. Sharper. "Yes," she said. "Nothing important." I let it go. I always let things go. That was the rhythm we'd built. Me smoothing, her deciding, my younger sister Lily orbiting both of us like a loose satellite, brilliant and burning through everything she touched. Lily hadn't called me since I left. That wasn't unusual either. She only reached out when something was on fire. We talked a few more minutes about nothing. Weather. The neighbor's dog. A recipe she'd tried and hated. When we hung up, I stayed on the balcony longer than I meant to, the quiet stretching. I told myself the tightness in my chest was just the altitude. The next morning, my phone buzzed with an email notification I almost ignored. Subject line, "Final notice." I opened it expecting a utility bill. Instead, I saw my name typed wrong, one extra letter shoved in like an afterthought, and beneath it, a scanned document stamped with a county seal. Property transfer confirmation. I read the words once. Then again, slower. My fingers went cold. The document listed my address. My house. A sale date from 3 days earlier. I laughed out loud. A short, stupid sound. There had to be a mistake. A clerical error. Some spam dressed up in legal language. Then I saw the signature at the bottom. My mother's name, written in the careful slanted script I'd known since childhood. And below it, a note from the escrow office thanking me for my cooperation during my absence. The world didn't explode. The balcony didn't sway. The sky stayed blue. But something inside me went very still, like an animal realizing the trap had already snapped shut. I stared at that signature until the letters blurred, until the truth settled into a shape I couldn't push away. She hadn't waited for permission. She'd waited for me to leave. I kept the email open all morning, like if I stared at it long enough, it might change its mind. I replayed my mom's voice from the night before, the way she'd said "still standing," like it was a joke only she understood. I didn't call her. Not yet. I needed to know how far back this went, how long I'd been the only one in the room who didn't know the walls were already being measured. The first memory that came back wasn't about the house. It was about Lily. She was 17, crying at the kitchen table, mascara streaked like she'd been caught in the rain. Mom stood behind her with a hand on her shoulder, whispering reassurances that sounded more like excuses. Lily had wrecked her car. Again. Maxed out another credit card. Again. I remember standing there with my arms crossed, trying to decide if love was supposed to feel like being slowly bled. "She just needs help," Mom said, eyes flicking toward me like a challenge. And I helped. I always helped. Co-signed. Covered rent. Paid a lawyer once when Lily's misunderstanding turned into a court date. I learned how to carry weight quietly, how to be the stable one without asking who was stabilizing me. That pattern didn't end when Dad died. It hardened. After the funeral, Mom started calling me more, asking about my job, my savings, the house. She'd walk through it with a critical eye, commenting on resale value like it was a hypothetical game. Once she'd even joked, if anything ever happened, this place could solve a lot of problems. I remembered laughing then. Remembered not asking what kind of problems needed solving. Around noon, I pulled up my bank app. The mortgage account was gone. Closed. Paid off. My stomach twisted tighter because I hadn't paid it off. I called the county office listed on the document. A woman with a bright voice confirmed everything with bureaucratic cheer. Yes, the sale was legitimate. Yes, the funds had been distributed. Yes, your mother acted under the power of attorney you signed in 2019. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed. That power of attorney had been for medical emergencies. One rushed signature after Dad's stroke, when forms blurred together and fear made everything feel urgent. And the proceeds? I asked. There was a pause while she typed. They were wired directly to a creditor account. Looks like a private loan consolidation. A name flashed in my mind before she said it. Lily. I thanked the woman and hung up. The room felt smaller, like the walls had leaned in to listen. I opened my email again and searched Lily's name. That's when I found it. A forwarded thread I'd missed months ago, buried under spam. An attachment labeled Draft Agreement. I opened it. The document outlined Lily's debt in clean, merciless numbers. $255,000. Multiple lenders. Interest stacking like dominoes. At the bottom, a proposed solution. Liquidate asset at my address. There were comments in the margin. My mom's voice, preserved in text. Aaron doesn't need to know yet. He'll understand later. This is the only way to save her. My hand started shaking. Not violently. Just enough to make the mouse drift across the screen. I thought about all the times Lily had sworn she was close to turning things around. All the times Mom had told me not to worry. All the quiet decisions made without me about me. Outside, a gust of wind rattled the balcony door. I closed my laptop slowly, like I might wake something if I moved too fast. The truth wasn't loud. It didn't accuse or scream. It just sat there, humming beneath everything, waiting for me to acknowledge it. They hadn't just sold my house. They'd already decided who I was in the story, and it wasn't the one who got a choice. The breadcrumb that finally ended, it was the wire receipt. I found it tucked inside the forwarded email thread, a single-page PDF I hadn't opened before. The timestamp was precise. The destination account number ended in 4 digits I knew by heart. I'd memorized them years ago while helping Lily negotiate yet another payment extension. There was no more room for doubt. No angle left where this could be explained away as a misunderstanding or a desperate oversight. My house hadn't been sold to keep the lights on or food on the table. It had been sold to erase a pattern no one wanted to confront. I drove home the next morning. No warning. No calls. The desert felt endless on the way back, the kind of quiet that dares you to think too much. By the time I pulled into what used to be my driveway, the place looked smaller, emptier. A realtor lockbox hung from the front door like an accusation. Mom was inside, sitting at the kitchen table where Lily used to cry. Lily was there too, scrolling on her phone, legs crossed. Comes a lake with no idea how deep it went. Mom looked up and froze. Aaron, you're back early. I'm home, I said. Or I was. Silence spread. Lily glanced up, eyes darting between us. What's going on? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I know about the sale. I know where the money went. Mom's shoulders slumped, like she'd been holding them up with sheer will. I was going to tell you. When? I asked. After the debt disappeared? After I thanked you for solving a problem I didn't know you'd created? Lily stood up. You don't understand. I was drowning. Understand exactly, I said, turning to her. You've been drowning for years, and you keep pulling other people under instead of learning how to swim. Her mouth opened, then closed. For once, she had nothing ready. Mom reached for my hand, and I stepped back. That was the moment something shifted. Not anger. Clarity. You used a medical power of attorney to sell my house, I said. That's fraud. She flinched. I did what I had to do. No, I said. You did what was easiest. I slid a folder onto the table. Inside were printed emails, the wire receipt, and a letter from a lawyer I'd contacted the night before. I wasn't asking anymore. I was informing. I filed to reverse the sale, I said. And I'm pressing charges if I have to. The lenders already flagged the transfer. Lily's face drained of color. You wouldn't. I already did. The air cracked. Mom started crying, the quiet kind, the kind that used to undo me. It didn't work this time. The facade fell away, and what was left was smaller. Human. Afraid. They didn't yell. Neither did I. The truth doesn't need volume when it finally stands up straight. I left with my folder and my keys. 2 weeks later, the sale was voided. The debt reinstated. Boundaries drawn where there had only been silence before. The house wasn't magically healed. Neither were we. But one evening, I stood in the backyard and picked a lemon from the tree, heavy and imperfect, still growing despite neglect. If this story meant something to you, if you've ever been made the quiet solution to someone else's chaos, take a second to like and subscribe. These stories matter because they remind us we're not alone. Some storms don't announce themselves. They pass through family rooms and signatures and half-truths. But when they're gone, the ground is clearer. And sometimes, that's where your roots finally get the chance to grow.